Hi Priscilla, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Let me go ahead and do my introduction, Julio. Hello, I am Priscilla, and I'm happy to present to you a session on iceberg and culture. It is my pleasure to bring the session to you this evening. And as usual, I hope that you will enjoy this session as much as I enjoyed putting it together for you. There will be lots of vocabulary that you will learn this evening, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to absorb as much as you can, ask as many questions as you can, and in future sessions with me, I hope that you will bring to the conversational English classes some of what you are learning now. I will now introduce to you our session for today, and it is Iceberg and Culture Synopsis. So let me know, Julio, can you see the story?
Perfectly clear.
Great. All right, so as usual, I'm going to assign you a number. Julio, you will be number 1, and Obed, you will be number 2. So, Julio, will you introduce yourself and tell me your number?
Yes, I'm Julio and I'm number one.
Fantastic. Obed, you are number 2. Would you introduce yourself and give me your number?
Yeah, my name is Obed. I'm number two.
Fantastic. So, thank you both for joining us. We can, right now, dive right into the session. If you have questions for me, I will be happy to answer those. And if not, we'll get started. This is a 1 hour session, and as we said before and realized before, the time does go very quickly. I will assign you your numbers now, or your reading order, 1. And if someone comes in, please let me know because I am not actually in that window anymore. 2 will be
Okay,
open.
don't worry.
All right, thank you. So now we will start. Julio, would you start to read for me first? And the title of this article is Iceberg
Al-
and Culture Synopsis.
Ali is coming.
Okay, Ollie. Let's see,
Yeah.
Ollie. Thank
Yeah,
you.
hello.
Ollie, you will be number 3. Would you quickly introduce yourself and give me your number?
Yes, my
Ollie,
name is
you're
Ali.
number 3. And you're number
Yes.
3. Okay, fantastic. All right, Julio, would you read for me? Read the title also.
Sure. Iceberg and Culture Synopsis. An iceberg is a combination of hidden and revealed elements in a similar way. Culture reveals its own its own dynamic characteristics. An iceberg with its many, oh, sorry, and I don't know what happened. I can see the screen now.
Okay.
But it's bad. Okay. Its own dynamic characteristics. An iceberg with its many cracks and pinnacles will reach towards the heavens, glittering in the moonbeams, sometimes looming with a ghost-like appearance in the distant hazy light.
Okay, great. So this word synopsis, are you familiar with this word synopsis, Julio?
Yes.
What does it mean?
A synopsis is when you sum something up,
Very
when you
good.
say,
That is correct. So what do you think that this synopsis is going to be about, Julio?
I think it's about culture, and it's an analogy between the culture, the society, and an iceberg. How it has some hidden things and some revealed things.
Fantastic. Are there words in what you read that you did not understand?
Well, cracks. I'm not familiar with that word.
Okay. Crags. This is a picture of a mountain, all right? And when you see this picture of the mountain, if you were to go walking, there would be crags and crevices and little ditches and trenches. That
Okay.
is what a crag is. It's like a crack. Do you
like a big
understand?
crack.
But it's not cracks, but it's similar to a crack. It's a high mass of rocks which stick out from the land around it. Okay?
Okay, I get it now. Get it from the
You got it.
picture.
Very good.
As you said, a picture is worth a thousand words.
Yay! Exactly. Thank you for remembering that. A picture is worth 1,000 words. All right. Does anyone have any questions about what Julio just read or anything? Is everything clear? All right, Obed, would you read for me?
Yes. As in a niche of people, some will wander and reveal as a small branches of self in effort explore person goals and explanation that might differ from the digital group
Okay, and this word is may. That
may
may. Mm-hmm.
that may
Mm-hmm.
differ from the indigenous
Indigenous.
indi-
Indigenous.
indigenous
Mm-hmm.
indigenous group. Yes.
Okay, do you have any words that you didn't understand?
Uh, as in a nature.
As in a nation?
Yes.
Well, a nation is going to be, uh, it's a country, especially when thought of as a large group of people living in one area. So I could say, uh, I, I live in the nation of the U.S., and it encompasses my beliefs and traditions and things of that nature. So you can think of a nation as a country. So I could say, what nation do you live in, Abed? And you would tell me what country you live in. It would be pretty much the same thing. Okay?
Uh-huh. I see. Okay.
All right. And indigenous, of course, is going to be the culture. It's going to be, it's an existing place or country rather than arriving from someplace else. It's where you actually originated from. Like if I were to, where do you live, Obed?
I'm I'm live Saudi Arabia.
Okay, you live in Saudi Arabia. I don't live in Saudi Arabia, so if I came to Saudi Arabia, you would say, well, where are you from? And I would say I'm from the U.S. If you came to the U.S., I'll say, where are you from? And you would say you're from Saudi Arabia, and I'll say, oh, you're you. Well, I can't really think of how I would say it correctly, but you're indigenous to Saudi Arabia. I'm indigenous to the United States. Where you live, you are indigenous to that area. But I think you do that word anyway, since you didn't ask me. So let me not make it hard for myself. This word wander means, do you know what this word means? Wander?
Wander, some will wander. Wander.
It means to travel. It's like you travel someplace. You move about. And do you know this word reveal? Do you know this word reveal?
You feel
It
no.
means it means to show, to uncover something. To
Okay.
reveal means to uncover. And I think
Okay.
you get the word percentage here. And to explore, it's like the little person here. It's exploring something to look for information. All right.
All right.
So, as a nation of people, some will wander and reveal a small percentage of self in an effort to explore personal goals and aspirations that may differ from the indigenous group. So, as just as an iceberg is one huge iceberg, so are a group of people that tend to move about. Once they leave one location and they go to some other place, they become curious about their environment and they reveal something about themselves because either they don't recognize some of the words, they don't recognize the dress, or the dress is different from what they have. All right.
Right.
Ali,
I have a question, teacher.
Yes.
Sorry.
yes, what is your question?
In the usage of that word, self, I mean, I've barely seen it used by itself.
Which word is
So,
that?
self, like, I would say, why don't you talk to me about yourself instead? What do you talk about of self? So, can you,
Well, when you talk about yourself, the word
yeah,
would be correct. But when I talk about myself, I can't really tell you when I would use the word ourselves.
I would use, I mean, in that part, in that sentence, I would use, I mean, I've seen the word to reveal a small percentage of oneself, but I've never seen it alone, like self, in
Okay.
that way.
Okay. And who's asking me that question, or who's
Julio,
commenting now? Who is
Julio,
com who? Julio?
Julio.
Julio. Again, I just want to emphasize most of the things that I do are going to be written a lot of times by me, and I'm not writing them for grammatic structure or grammatical accuracy. It's not that I wouldn't want to do it accurately, but that is not my what should I say, area of specialty. So when I can't tell you that you could very well be absolutely correct. Where is my, there it is. You could be absolutely 100% correct in your assessment of what that word should be, but because my purpose and goal is conversational English, not that I'm even trying to defend it, I want you to know that mine's primarily is to make sure that you're able to comprehend and understand what I'm saying. So am I making, can I make the assumption that you did understand what I
Yes,
want you to know? Okay.
yes, I did, and it will be just fine. I mean, that's
Hmm.
you can see it like that, and it's okay. And I will understand that maybe if it's not exactly the way that I see it, it's
Okay.
another way that you can use it, and I will understand it, and I will use it that way every once in a while, like not be so conscious about it.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right. I'm going to go back to my screen share now. Pull my story back up, and I'm going to go back to screen share. All right. So now it is. Did someone else come into the room? I think when I was looking, I think I saw some more people. Uh,
I think Andre is here.
Hello, Andre. How are you?
Hi everyone. I'm
Okay, Andre.
doing well. Yeah.
Good. Andre, you are going to be number 4. Can you say my name is Andre and I'm number 4? Can you say my
Okay.
number is 4? What is your number,
My
Andre?
number is four.
Okay, so when you see the number 4,
4.
it will be time for you to respond, okay? All right, so Ali, it is your turn now.
Yes, with the absence of the full support of the group norms, the would-be explorer exposed to hazard above the surface of the sea in comparison to the safety of the group grounded beneath the sea more than 80% of solid mass structure and support sustainability.
Okay, do you have any questions about what you just read?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
of the group grounded beans, of the menu beans.
okay. Let's see. With the absence of full support of group norms, the would-be explorer is exposed to hazards above the surface of the sea in comparison to the safety of the group grounded beneath the sea. All right. Now you know that we're doing a comparison. I need you first to understand that we're doing a comparison of an iceberg and culture. All right? Do you understand that so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that culture is complete with beliefs, dress, food, traditions, and all of that. Now we have to look at what exactly is an iceberg. And here is an iceberg. Can you see this iceberg very clearly? This one? Can you see this iceberg very clearly?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Notice this part of the iceberg here.
Yeah.
Then
It's
there's a
only
part
short.
and then there's a part of the iceberg that is beneath the water
Hidden?
that we cannot see.
Yeah, it's hidden.
Okay? So when we look at this group grounded beneath the sea, this is talking about, again, it's an analogy.
Yeah.
That part about a person's culture that we can't see.
Yeah.
I may actually look at you, but I can't see what your religion is. I can't see what your foods are. I can see on the top by your appearance, the clothes that you wear. I can listen to your voice and know that you do not sound like me. You perhaps do not look like me. But there are lots of things that are beneath the sea. Do you
Yeah.
understand? That I cannot see.
I
So
got the
that's
point.
grounded beneath. All right. Anything else?
Yeah.
What about sustainability? Do you understand that word?
Yeah, I think the sustain is like it's continuous something or
Yes, it's continuous. And
yeah.
notice this little flower that's in this parched land? No matter what happens, this flower is determined to grow. So it's sustainable.
Yeah, it's like a process, and
Hmm
it's not even being end. It has no end.
Okay, that would be good. Okay, Andre. Well, does anyone else have any questions about what was just read or said? Okay, we will now go to Andre. Andre, would you please read for me?
Okay. Yes. When an individual sleeps, drifts, or chooses the re- relinquish the safety net of the known of venture away from his homeland, he will be exposed to different cultures and traditions.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, and traditions, just like an iceberg. The intense sunlight will melt and change the status and element of this would be Glacier.
Okay. Do you have questions?
Yes. First word, relinquish.
Relinquish?
How how I should correct pronounce this word?
Relinquish. Do you know what the word relinquish means?
No.
Okay. Relinquish means, if we take a look at this picture, what does it look like someone is doing in this picture?
Give to someone my keys.
Yes, they're giving
Um,
something up. He's giving
I'm
something away. So to
simple.
relinquish means to give away something or give something away. Relinquish is to give something away. Okay? So when an individual slips, drifts, or chooses to relinquish the safety net of the known and venture away from his homeland. So in the story of culture and the iceberg, someone is going to leave home and give up the opportunity to speak with people who knows his or her language, who knows his or her dress and their traditions. He or she is giving that up to forge a new way as a venture someplace else, maybe coming to America. Okay? Do you have questions?
And then last one word, glacier.
Glacier. Okay, what is a glacier? A glacier is nothing more than a part of an iceberg.
Huge iceberg.
A glacier is a part of an iceberg. When an iceberg starts to melt and pieces falls off or breaks off, it becomes
Okay.
a glacier.
Good.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, when we think about that glacier, the person who left his hometown or his nation, he becomes like a glacier. He breaks away. All right?
He breaks glacier, correct?
Well, he doesn't break the glacier. He just breaks the bond. Say, let's look at this picture here. Here is a group of people that lives someplace. This person decides, you know what? I'm going to go to Saudi Arabia. And this person says, I'm going to go to America. And this person says, I'm going to go to Egypt. These people now are first they are a glacier. Now, first they are the iceberg. But now when they start to break away, they become like little icebergs, or little glaciers, rather. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so now we are, Julio, it's your turn.
Cultural values, once apparent, such as personality, clothing, speaking, or I could express my thoughts as those visible elements of a being. Those traits, not easily detected, are biases, prejudices, spiritual disposition, concepts, and indigenous experiences.
Okay? Questions? Questions, Julio?
Yeah, that word, I don't know if it's biases or biases.
Biases.
Biases, I was, so it's like means.
The word biases and prejudices is somewhat the same. Do you see this little duckling here?
Yep, maybe that.
Is anything different about this duck and those ducks?
Yes, and he has different color.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they might treat him the same?
Well, I don't know if dogs can actually tell the difference, but definitely human beings can.
Right. And because I only use this as a reference, I wanted to show this picture. This story is not about ducks, but it is about a comparison of how culture and icebergs are very similar. So this picture represents the similarity of people's prejudices and biases. These ducks here do not know why this duck is yellow, but it looks about the same size. But all of the darker ones are up here on the pedestal or on the iceberg, and this one is not. This one even looks like he wants to join them, but they may say, no, you're different. You can't join us. We're better than you. Or this one here may be saying, I'm better than you, and you all stay up there because you don't deserve to be with me. So it's a bias, it's a feeling, it's a thought, it's a how can I say?
There is no fair judgment, or there is no have the same rights.
It's to think of something as opposing or something that is unfair, but something is influencing his or her judgment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
No, only that one.
Okay. So again, those traits not easily detected are called biases. So when we talk about this iceberg, remember, there are things in this iceberg that I can't see down below. Well, somewhere it's down here. Somewhere down below, I can't see the biases because they're underwater. So when someone is traveling outside of their nation or their country, they've got hidden biases and prejudices. And they don't necessarily have to be um, really bad. They're just different. Okay?
All right.
Um, who was reading? Was that Abed? Okay.
Rule number one, what's reading?
Okay, so Abed, is your turn. Obed, is your turn, I think. Yes. Obed,
Yes. Yes.
it is your turn to read.
Uh, you want me read this
I want
paragraph?
you to read. Yes, please.
Yeah. Finally, the the scripts will start to melt and melt with other scripts and arrow into something great then. It is part as a single inflated explosion to a new culture, will introduce new experience and improve in such a manner that the would be encouraged is transformed in manner that that clearly experience self a different and unique manner express just uh, manner than what was prophesied. No
Okay. So this word is opportunities,
opportunities,
manner,
manner,
expresses,
expresses,
unique,
unique,
previously.
precisely,
Previously. Okay.
previously, yes.
Okay, what questions do you have about any word here?
Um,
Do you understand what you read?
Not more, little. Some word
Okay.
I understand, another word not understand.
Okay. So what I want you to get from what you read is an understanding of the concept. You do realize we're talking about an iceberg and we're talking about a culture. So it's important, Obed, that you are understanding what a culture is and what an iceberg is. Are you understanding what those are as you read the story?
Yeah, I think this is talking a different culture between this country.
hmm Okay, so what it's saying now in the section that you just read, Obed, is that once a person has left their homeland because they were actually a part of a large iceberg, which is this thing here. This is the person, this is the iceberg. But now it's starting to melt and you're changing into something else. But as you change into something else, you're meeting other people and customs, and you're joining other cultures and customs. You're melting and you're forming an alliance with something else. Now you're evolving. You're evolving. You're changing into something different than what you started out as. You started, you started, you started, you started, you started, and you look completely different here than you did when you were here. And this exposure, not so much this picture, but this picture represents something that you're exposed to. You're exposed to something and you're exposed to a different culture. And let's just say that new culture is going to be the US. And the word transformed is very much the same as evolve. The word transformed and the word evolve means pretty much the same. And here we have different. The word different means, in this case, something that is not the same as it was when you started out. And the word previously, which I think now, as I'm looking at it, it probably would have been better to have this word here, something different, which it says 10 years ago and now, and previously, which would have been 10 years ago. Previously is something that happened before. Okay?
Okay.
So what we are talking about is that the person who left home is now transforming and changing his ideas and his thoughts based upon the new experiences. All right?
All right.
So now we are going to go to Ali. Ali, you are number 3.
Yeah. This the
Okay.
comparison.
Okay, continue.
This is the comparison of the iceberg and culture is imminent realization that once something is removed from the host, indubitably will make a change an effort to survive.
Good.
Yeah.
Are there any difficult words here for you?
Yes, it's imminent.
Imminent. The
Yeah.
word imminent is related to something that is going to happen very soon. Here it says falling rock. If you see a sign that says falling rock, something imminently, any day now, any minute now, any time in the very near future, the rocks are going to fall. So imminent means something that is going to happen very soon. And the word realization is you need to
Yeah,
be
I
aware.
realized.
Very
Yeah.
good. Realize. And this word host, do you understand the word host?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So what is actually going on in your paragraph?
Mm, So, I actually, um, there's, yeah, you know that culture is the same as, uh, um, yes, when compare between iceberg and culture is the same. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the same
Mm-hmm.
because it's yeah, you know, the accident will happen. It's
Okay. People, you know
yeah,
that people will want to change. People will
yes,
want to change. And if people are moving, something has to happen, just like the rock has to fall. If you come to America, you are going to have to change some of your ways. You
yeah,
have to. Okay?
because some, yeah. There is no something stable or steady. Yes, become steady. It's
Mm-hmm.
only become moving and moving and so
Okay.
on.
All right. Now, I'm going to quickly read this story. Iceberg and Culture Synopsis. The word synopsis is a summary of what I want you to know. And I want you to know that an iceberg and culture are very similar. An iceberg is a combination of hidden and revealed elements. In a similar way, culture reveals its own dynamic characteristics. An iceberg with its many crags and pinnacles will reach toward the heavens, glittering in the moonbeams, sometimes looming with a ghost-like appearance in the distant ashy light. As in a nation of people, some will wander and reveal a small percentage of self in an effort to explore personal goals and aspirations that may differ from the indigenous group. With the absence of full support of group norms, the would-be explorer is exposed to hazards above the surface of the sea in comparison to the safety of the group grounded beneath the sea with more than 80% of solid mass, structure, and support for sustainability. When an individual slips, drifts, or chooses to relinquish the safety net of the known and venture away from his homeland, he will be exposed to different cultures and traditions, just like an iceberg. The intense sunlight will melt and change the status and elements of this would-be glacier. Culture values one's appearance, such as personality, clothing, speaking, are those expressions of thought such as those visible elements of a being. Some traits are not easily detected, such as biases, prejudices, spiritual disposition, concepts, and indigenous experiences. Finally, the iceberg will start to melt and meld with other icebergs and evolve into something greater than its parts as a single individual. Exposure to a new culture will introduce new experiences and opportunities in such a manner that the would-be iceberg is transformed in a manner that clearly expresses itself in a different and unique manner than what was previously known. Now, Julio, what questions do you have that I could answer of you before I ask you to summarize this article? I want you to look at these pictures, Julio,
Hmm.
and summarize this article for me. Look at these pictures and summarize that article for me.
Okay. This article is an analogy between an iceberg and society and culture. It compares both of them because just like an iceberg, when you are taken away from your roots, like a glacier is taken away from the iceberg, it starts to change and evolve due to the lack of roots, and it becomes in a complete different being that will express himself in a different manner.
Okay, that's good enough. Um, let's see. Obed, could you summarize the story for me? Or first, are there questions that I could answer for you before you summarize the story? Obed, using these pictures or some of these pictures, can you summarize the story?
Yes.
Okay, I will listen.
I think if you go a new place, you have to looking for what the best way to live in there.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And ask many people what kind of roles you can go there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so when people live in a country together, they have their own customs and traditions. When you are traveling outside of your indigenous area, you will observe many things about other people. A good percentage of the people where you're going will have views that will be uncovered and discovered by you. And an iceberg is just like a mountain. It has crags and pinnacles that you'll go through, sharp pains, difficult experiences, but you will be able to get through it with persistence. Let's see. Ollie,
Yeah,
can you look at this picture and tell me? Well, first, do you have any questions?
no,
Okay. Can you look at this picture, Ollie, and tell me what questions do you have? I mean, can you give me a summary of the story using these pictures?
yeah, actually, when there's something on the culture is like a hidden or beams like on the iceberg in the beams of the sea
Mm-hmm.
is not shown to others, and this I think that are a solid and become hazard, and we have to explore that uh, to being when moving in other country. They have this traits or these traits we have to change it to become to become yeah, to have a change answer, yeah, to become we have to change these traits and customs and norms to the process to the process are are sustained.
Okay. All right. Good. Andre, I know that you haven't been with us as long as everyone else started out, but would you like to try and summarize that story for us?
Okay, let me try. Is the main idea of this story is the people who live his neighborhood and try maybe and meet new cultures, new nations. They will he will be exposed to different cultures and tradition,
Mm-hmm.
like an iceberg,
Okay.
and and I think it will be very difficult to understand and is very quickly wall old traditions, and go deeply and deeply and deeply to.
Okay. That's good. All right. So let us take a look now. Again, the story was about a comparison of cultures and glaciers. Just as a glacier starts out as a fundamental part, culture is a fundamental group. It takes lots of people to make a group, to make a culture. It takes a big piece of ice to make an iceberg. As people tend to leave their group, their indigenous group, just like an iceberg, when it breaks apart and separates, the people who leave their culture will form an alliance with another group of people, maybe Americans, maybe people in Saudi Arabia, maybe people in India, wherever they may go. Just like the ice breaking apart, it forms an alliance with other pieces of ice, and they become a host somewhere. Like bugs will uh, lay their eggs on the leaves. When you leave your country, you find another country to become a part of that country. And imminently something is going to happen. There is a realization that imminently something is going to happen. There will be a change, and you will see this change. And in order for you to survive and be sustainable, you must be adaptable. You must be adaptable. You can't always compare what you were like at home and think that you can do the same thing where you're going. Things have to change. Any questions before we go on? All right,
No.
if we don't have any questions, there's a couple of things that you need to know about moving from one place to another. You usually will have a form that you will need to complete. If I want to go outside of the United States, I will need to apply for a visa. And if you want to travel to the US, to the United States, most likely you will have to fill out some papers for your country as well. So we're going to read a scenario, give us an opportunity to do more um, easily read conversation pieces that I put together. And we will continue with that after I pull it up. Control. And I will share my screen once more. So what I need is to ask Julio and Obed. Julio, will you be A? And Obed, will you be B? And if you'll read what you see. All right, you may start when you're ready. You can deviate a little bit if you like from this script, but I want you to practice speaking fluently and easily. I don't want you to talk as if you're reading, if at all possible, but it is okay if you do. You may start when you're ready.
Will you look at this form?
Are you having a problem with it?
I don't understand some things.
Let me help you.
What does MI mean?
MI stand for middle intel.
Initial.
Initial.
Okay, and what does MNDDY mean?
That means month, day, year, use number.
Oh, now I get it. I understand.
For example, if your birthday is January 12, 1987, write 1/12/87.
Oh, that's simple enough.
Always breathe carefully and fill in the pupilless completely.
That would be bubbles.
Bubble,
Bubbles.
bubbles. What's the meaning of bubbles?
You've seen those little test booklets, perhaps, that you answer A, B, C, D, and it says circle with a dark pencil. You circle with.
Alphabet.
It's not an alphabet. I'll see if I can find a picture of one for you. Let me go out and find a picture of a bubble sheet.
It's like a
Go,
balloon.
Yeah, it's
go,
like a balloon, but not quite so much that either, because
go. Open
but
the.
it is like a balloon. But when you're doing a test, you'll see. I've got one copy. I hope I got one. Let's see if I got one. Bubbles. Control B. Paste. You see the bubble sheet? You know, it says circle one,
Pizza.
bubble. Do you see that picture?
This is an example or a quiz.
Yeah, but it's the bubble sheet. It's a bubble sheet.
Bubble sheet.
You asked me what was a bubble. Remember, you asked me what is a bubble?
Yeah,
Yes?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, these are bubbles.
Okay. Uh,
These are bubbles. So you bubble in the answer. Is your answer A, B, C, or D? You see the darken the one that you would want to select. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is, you'll usually find these on forms. You will usually find these on forms. Okay.
Yeah, okay, I see.
All right. Continue. Oh no, that was the end of it, I think. All right. So now can I get Ali and Andre to be? Andre, will you be B, and Ali, will you be A?
Yes.
Okay.
Will you look at this form?
Mm, are you having problem with it?
I don't understand something.
Let me help you.
What does MI mean?
MI stands for middle initial.
And what does MMBBYY
This means
mean?
month, day, year. Use numbers.
I don't understand.
Okay, for example, if your birth date is January 12, 1987, write 011287.
Okay, that's simple enough.
Always print clearly and fill in the bubbles completely.
Okay. Thank you very much. You all did a fantastic job with that. And as we come to the end of our session for this evening, I will tell you that these sessions go extremely fast. I do try to take into account all of the information that I get from current sessions like tonight and the session that I had prior to. It appeared in the session prior to this one that it seemed that everyone didn't get to speak as much or as long as they wanted to. So I forewent reading the introductory part, but I still wanted each of you to have an understanding of what the synopsis of the culture and the iceberg is. And I think that we accomplished this. My objective for you today was for you to learn and observe a few vocabulary words, and I hope that you are leaving today with more vocabulary word exposure than you had. And if you can remember one word that you learned today, I would like to see you demonstrate your use of that word in a session with me. I'd like to entertain your questions now as you give us or give me your final word. And we'll start with who would like to be first. I could look at my list, but I'll let you decide who would like to be first to give the final word for this evening.
Well, I think the class was very interesting.
Okay, thank you.
I don't like to see words in context. That's always great. And the reading was a little bit, well, it wasn't difficult to understand, but it was definitely very abstract, which is great too, because it gets us to see or to think about it and see abstract words in context, which is also great. So
Okay,
all in all, this was really good.
thank you very much, Julia. Obed, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I want to say thank you. This topic is very important for us, but some word is very difficult for us. Maybe the first time we listen to the words.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, thank you. I hope join with you next time.
Fantastic. I look forward to having you with me as well. Ali, final words?
Yes, it's a very. I would thank you for this hour, and I think that a very good class for me because there is our vocabulary that you understand for me,
Okay, good.
and thanks.
Okay, thank you for coming. And finally, Andre?
Yes, Priscilla, I want to say thanks for your class. I was first time there, and your class a little bit different from me, and I think it's very great to use picture. It's very helps to understand meaning of the word.
Okay, very good.
It's
And that is the
Teacher,
purpose.
progress.
Yes.
teacher,
Yes.
if you don't mind, if you have a link for this vocabulary, we want to review this vocabulary.
Actually, I don't have a list for the vocabulary. And I would say one of the reasons I don't have a list for the vocabulary is that makes it passive reading. I don't want you to be passively involved with the activity. Now, what would be the difference in being able to give you the written definition as opposed to giving you a picture? If I give you the picture, you have to think. You have to try to
Yes.
decide what exactly does this picture have to do with this word in the context of what you're reading. If I actually literally give you the definition, you have that definition just for today, but you don't have the picture, and you just accept that you have the definition, but it's out of context. So if you want to get the definition, I encourage you to work at looking up the definition for your personal development yourself, because it forces you to do something as opposed to my giving it to you. Now, what I had to do, I had to literally think about the words. I knew the words, but I had to think what actually would be a picture that would represent what I wanted you to know. Now, I honestly wish sometimes I could draw and I was an artist, because an artist seems that they can just quickly create exactly what they want you to know. But since I can't, I have to go to the internet and find just a plethora of pictures so that I can put them into information. I want to say to Julio, thank you very much for commenting on the topic for today. It was a little more involved than the general topics, but again, because of the excessive amount of pictures, it makes the readability and the understanding of the content a little more tolerable of the language learner, because that is the deficit for the language learner. They do not have the background information for a complete sentence without a lot of pictures. I'm sure most people know what an iceberg is, but when you're talking about an iceberg and culture, and it's just a word, it becomes a little bit complicated and complex. When there's a picture there, you immediately know I'm comparing iceberg and culture, and how are they similar and how are they different from each other, and that helps to bridge that understanding. And for the more advanced learner, that advanced learner, once he or she becomes accustomed to my way of doing things, and I give those private classes go to more involved context, more uh, discipline specific. It could be engineering, it could be medical, it could be anything, but the person that I'm communicating with has to have the capacity to embrace the appropriate vocabulary without my having to look up the words. So with that said, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you all soon. Take care now. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
teacher.
Priscilla.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.